When you think of a gaming laptop, what are the usual PC manufacturers that come to your mind? Well, Asus for its ROG line, then there's HP for its Omen line, then there's Alienware also. So these are the familiar names in the gaming laptop market. But what if I tell you that if you're on the market for a good entry-level gaming laptop for under 1 lakh rupees that looks great and performs decently well, I am talking about this machine. This is the Gigabyte G5 ME, and in this video I will give you all the good and bad about this gaming beast so that you can decide whether to purchase this one or not. Hello everyone, I'm Ania for Fiber and this is my review of the Gigabyte G5 ME gaming laptop. But of course, before we get on with the rest of the video, consider hitting that red subscribe button for detailed tech videos and also turn on the bell so that you don't miss any of our latest updates. With that said, let's get started. Straight off, I will say that I like the minimal industrial design of the Gigabyte G5. So of course, there's nothing flashy about the design, no fancy LEDs or accents on the outside. All you get is this gaming laptop in a charcoal black sort of a color with a Gigabyte branding on one side and a pattern design on the other corner. The build is polycarbonate and the overall build is kind of decent. I won't call it the best, but for the price, again, as I said, I think it is decent. The surface is smooth to the touch but attracts a lot of fingerprints. The hinge is sturdy but the laptop still wobbles if you are not using it on a hard surface. On the sides and back, you get a total of 4 vents for heat dissipation in terms of ports and I/O. The laptop comes with a USB 2.0 Type A port, a USB 3.2 Gen 1 Type A port, 2 USB 3.2 Gen 2 Type-C ports, a mini display port 1.4, an HDMI 2.1 port, a dedicated audio and microphone sockets, an RJ45 LAN port, a micro SD card reader, and a barrel-style charging port. On the inside, you get a full-size keyboard with a numpad, a relatively large trackpad, and an HD camera in the top bezel. Those qualities subpar to say the least. See, overall, I won't call this machine that it has the best build quality that you can get on any gaming laptop, but for what it's worth, I think at its price, the Gigabyte G5 is a decently built machine. Definitely could have done better, but again, for the asking price, can't say much. And yeah, not to forget that this 15-inch gaming laptop, this Gigabyte G5, it weighs only 1.9 kilograms. So I think for a gaming laptop, the weight is also pretty sufficient, is also very easy to carry around. On the front, the Gigabyte G5 features a 15.6-inch display with a Full HD Plus resolution up to 300 nits brightness and a 144Hz refresh rate across all the 3 variants on offer in the series. I would also like to add that for a budget gaming laptop, I think the bezels on offer around the display are pretty thin, so good job there. As for the display quality itself, the IPS panel on offer is well calibrated and looks quite vibrant. Now yes, the screen has a matte finish, so of course the viewing angles aren't the best, but looking at the display head on works just fine. Plus, as I mentioned, the display being vibrant, I think the color reproduction is good. The contrast and brightness are also pretty acceptable for the price point. In fact, not just for gaming, but I also enjoyed watching a ton of videos on this laptop just because the screen is, decent. However, the dual bottom firing speakers sound tinny and just average regarding the audio quality. So wired headphones or a wireless TWS buds are definitely recommended if you're watching a lot of videos on this machine. And even for gaming, the 2-watt speakers that you get here on this laptop, they won't do justice to the game. So because under heavy load, the fan gets really loud. So, you don't get that optimal listening experience. So to get that optimal listening experience, again, a good quality headphones is a sure shot recommended. As I mentioned earlier, the Gigabyte G5 sports a full-sized keyboard with 15-zone color backlighting that you can customize via the bare bones LED keyboard setting app that you can find in the Control Center 3.0 app. I would say it gets the job done. As for the keyboard quality itself, the keys feature a softish matte texture with white edges. The tactile feedback and key travel is good, especially if you're a student or anyone who uses their machine to do a lot of typing. I think you will be impressed with the performance and tactile feedback. Regarding the trackpad, the size is relatively large when compared to other options in the market. Now, it is not a glass trackpad, but it is a Windows Precision trackpad, which means all the supported gestures work here, and for everyday tasks, the trackpad's speed and responsiveness is pretty decent. Now talking about the hardware, the Gigabyte G5 ME is powered by the Intel Core i5-12500H processor with 12 cores and 16 threads. There's dual channel 16GB LPDDR4 RAM with support for up to 64GB RAM expansion, but of course a newer generation memory like LPDDR5 or even LPDDR4X would have been better. In terms of storage, my machine gets the 512GB SSD storage. In terms of graphics performance, there's an integrated 8GB Iris Xe GPU along with a dedicated 4GB LPDDR6 NVIDIA GeForce 3050 Ti GPU with a 75W TGP. So on your screens are the Cinebench R23 benchmark and the SSD read and write speeds. You can pause and take a look. Now in terms of day-to-day performance regarding the usual run-of-the-mill tasks like browsing, typing or watching videos, this laptop is a no-brainer and handles everything with ease. Although I would say sometimes the long game startup times could be irritating. And speaking of games, let's talk about how this laptop handles actual games pretty well actually. So there's the Control Center 3.0 app, which again is pretty bare bones as I said earlier, but it lets you tweak the performance mode. Then there's a fan speed setting also, which again lets you set whether you want the fans to kick in automatically or you want to put it on manual. As for the gaming performance, well, the Gigabyte G5 runs loud because of the fan noise, but in terms of actual performance, the laptop again performs decently well. So I played a lot of Tekken 7 and WWE 2K23 on the Gigabyte G5 and the laptop was able to handle both of these titles with ease. Graphics looked great, especially with 2K23, which comes with native ray tracing feature. The game with its advanced mechanics and graphics advancements was a joy to play on this machine. As for the average frame rate performance, both Tekken 7 and WWE 2K23 ran at peak 60 FPS average. However, when it comes to playing an even more graphics intensive title, I'm talking about the GTA 5, which by the way is one of my favorite games of all time, and I cannot wait for GTA 6 to come. So GTA 5 at very high graphics at full HD plus resolution with VSync turned off. The game ran perfectly smooth on the Gigabyte G5. Yes, the laptop, as I said, gets loud because of the fan noise, but heat dissipation works fine. The keyboard surface is also, I would say, okayish, comfortable to the touch. So again, considering the price, I'm not complaining much about the thermal performance here. Now, as for the frame rates while playing GTA 5, again, I was getting a sustained 110 FPS on average, which I think is a great number for a budget gaming laptop. That said, when I tried my hands on with a game like Control, that's where the laptop started showing its limitations. So for the game to be playable, I had to set the graphics at low to maintain a decent frame rate. I was able to get an average of 40 to 50 FPS sustained while playing Control. So I would say the game was just playable. So this basically means that if you will try to play a game like Control on this kind of a hardware that you're getting here with features such as high graphics turned on, ray tracing turned on and all of those fancy things turned on, well, this machine won't be able to handle that kind of stuff. Finally, in terms of battery life, there's a 54 watt hour battery under the hood with a 150 watt charger that you get with the laptop, and the charger is not heavy, which is kind of a surprise for me. It's a gaming laptop. But anyway, in terms of the endurance, I constantly use the machine with 144 Hz turned on, and you can say if you're using this machine on battery power, the maximum it might be able to last you is about 4 hours. That too if you're using this machine for usual tasks and not gaming. But when it comes to gaming, again, it is suggested to put the machine on charge first and then play games. Long story short, is the Gigabyte G5 ME worth its asking price? Well, for about 86,500 rupees, I think it is. You see, if you're someone who wants to get a decent entry-level gaming machine, in that case, the Core i5 GPU coupled with RTX 3050 Ti GPU is good enough to give you an acceptable 1080p gaming experience. That is for most games. Of course, if you're a serious gamer, then something like this won't be your cup of tea and you would like to consider other options. Also note that if you are considering the Gigabyte G5 ME for yourself, then I would say that don't keep your expectations very high when it comes to the look and feel of the machine or the build quality. But then again, when we look at the asking price, I think so the company has done a fair deal with the Gigabyte G5 ME. Fiber rates this laptop a 7 on 10, but you let me know your thoughts about the Gigabyte G5 in the comments below. And as always, for all the latest in tech, stay tuned to Fiber. I'll catch you all in the next one. Thank you for watching.